Hello, everyone, and welcome to EduTap. Today we have a special success story with you, and we have with us our special guest. We have Miss Dibangana Mohan, who has secured rank 162 in the recently announced results of EPFO Enforcement Officer Accounts Officer examination. Welcome, Dibangana, to EduTap.
Thank you, sir.
And first of all, I would like to, give all of you a very brief introduction about Dibangna. Obviously, she has done very well at the PFO examination, and she's an engineer by education. She has done her BTech from NIT Silchar, a very reputed institute, and after that, she has also been working in a private firm as a software engineer. And on top of that, the very special thing about her is she is a renowned chess player from India, and she has played national, and she is a FIDE rated chess player. FIDE, mind you, is the International Chess Federation, which basically is the organization that ranks chess players. So Dibangna amongst us, she's also a kind of a mini celebrity. And Dibangna, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for this beautiful result for EPFO examination.
Thank you so much.
And also, Dibangna, you have such an illustrious educational background. You have also been working as a software engineer, and you are a renowned chess player also. So it is not a question that I should ask, but still I would ask, how did you feel when you heard the result that you have secured such a beautiful rank in the EPF examination?
Uh, it does feel good to secure a rank in a prestigious examination, especially conducted by the reputed UPSC, the organization by UPSC. And it does feel good, and I am thankful and grateful to all the opportunities and whatever I have achieved. I'm really grateful for that.
Yes, obviously, and the reactions by your family, your parents, or your friends, and there might be some other, your colleagues also who might be working with you. So, how was the reaction when everyone heard about that you have secured such a good rank?
They are obviously very happy for me, and they all of them have said the similar thing that the kind of brilliancy and the combination of hard work that is their version. I'm not sure how that is truly is if that is truly applicable on me. They are on they have everybody has commented on the same line that the talent and brilliancy plus hard work
Hard work.
will always yield to the good result. And I'm happy that I have secured this rank with this journey.
Yeah, sure. And obviously, it's not a very small feat to score such a good rank in such a prestigious examination, as you said, which has been conducted by the UPSC. And one more thing about Dibangana that I have not told all of you guys is that she is also preparing for the civil services examination. Since 2019, you started your preparation, if I'm not wrong, and she also has appeared for the state civil services exam for the state of Assam, and she has appeared for the interview for the same, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we also expect, Devangna to do a lot better in other examinations as well. So first of all, Devangna, let us talk about EPFO. How did EPFO happen? Why did you decide that you are going to prepare for this examination?
Okay, so the notification of EPFO, it came out on the first half of 2020, I think in the very first month of 2020.
Yes, yes,
And I
January.
had started, yes, sir. And I had already started my civil services journey in the September 2019. So since the exam was conducted by UPSC, I came to know about the notification of the exam. And at the first instant, I thought that I would give it a try. I did not know that I would give it a serious attempt, but I just thought that I would give it a try and let's just know how the UPSC conducts the exam and all the processes. So that is the very beginning. And thankfully, it got due to the pandemic and all other circumstances, it got shifted to, we got around 1.5 years to prepare for the same examination. And in that meantime, I could cover the syllabus and appear for the exam comfortably.
Okay, so you thought obviously that you are a civil, you have been preparing for civil services. So you must have seen that the syllabus for the EPFO examination was, lots of components. They were quite similar to the topics which are also a part of the syllabus for the civil services examination. So
That's
that also
correct.
kind of, inspired you to appear for this exam. So now I would again ask this question that if we talk about the syllabus for EPFO examination, I consider it into three different verticals. First one is the GS part, which we can say that is also common with the UPSC. There is history, economy, polity, etc. Then there comes the English and maths part, which also is asked as CSAT in the civil services examination. And then comes your this part where we talk about accounts, labor laws, industrial relations, social security. These are the subjects which a civil services aspirant normally does not read much detail into, right? So please tell us, how did you prepare for these different subjects for the APF examination, and what sources did you consult for these subjects?
Yes, sir. So as you have correctly mentioned about the three vertices, when I approached the exam, I exactly divided the syllabus into those three verticals itself. So the GS part, I was already studying for the state PCS and civil services. So that was not an extra burden on me. And coming to the aptitude part, that is the mathematics and English, I had the confidence that I would be able to do it since coming given my background in the engineering subjects. And when coming to the additional subject, which is labor laws, social security, and accountancy, those are new subjects to me, and I refer to various online classes and YouTube lecture videos for that, and I tried to cover it from those lectures itself. I did not do any extra particular book. I did not refer to any extra particular book or any extra guidance for those particular subjects.
Okay, so basically, you are saying that obviously these GS subjects and your maths and English, that you managed because obviously you are studying it for civil services also, and for these additional subjects, for these different topics that are not part of the UPSC syllabus, you used some online sources to prepare for this. So many students, they also think that if we want to prepare for any particular subject, we must have hard books, hard copies of books. We must have very detailed sources that we have to prepare from, and it is not possible to prepare any particular subject for any examination, especially UPSC examination, from online sources. So I think you are bursting that myth. Am I right?
So for some of the subjects, I would definitely say that we should not completely rely on the online. We cannot completely rely on online subjects such as if we come into the UPSC civil services, then for polity, Lakshmikant we all read. For modern India history, Spectrum we all read. So I think those basic books we should not neglect it to its core. But however, for some of the topics which are not we are not very used to it, I think we could if it is in our comfort level, then we could refer to the YouTube videos or various classes or various lecture videos. I think it would also depend on aspirant to aspirant, but I was comfortable with those lecture series, and thankfully it worked out for me.
Yeah, that word that you have used is very important, that depending upon your comfortability level, because obviously it is not it depends, it varies from aspirant to aspirant. And if you really feel that you can prepare from online sources, then you must be very you there might be certain things that you must be taking care of. So if I ask you that how much time did you take to prepare these subjects like accounts, labor laws, international relations, which were not part of your UPSC syllabus? And I assume you are also from the science background in your school also, so you might not have read about accounts or industrial relations and all that in the school or during your graduation. These subjects would have been entirely new for you. So how much time would you say that an aspirant, how much time did you take to prepare these subjects, and what is the time that should be sufficient for any hardworking aspirant to cover these subjects?
Sir, as far as I remember now, the online classes that I took, I think I wrapped it up around 1 month or so. I for initially, I gave emphasis to the very basics and core. And sir, coming to the part of accounting, I would say that I did not face much difficulty because of the fact that I have always liked mathematics, and it is somehow, I found it somehow relatable to the mathematics. So it was
Okay.
not very hard or difficult for me to consume a totally new subject. And also coming to the part of labor laws and social security, I would say that it is kind of an extension of what we read in the human economy and human geography in the civil services examination. We are already studying about the social security, the vulnerable people. Here we just need to give an extensive study on the law part, on the labor laws, on or other acts. So
Okay.
those things I took care of to some extent, but otherwise I did not find much difficult to cope up with an entirely new syllabus.
Okay. And there are a lot of different subjects. If we talk about civil services examination, obviously we know that a lot of different subjects we have to prepare for prelims and then for mains, and then we have an optional subject also. But many students think that if you have these variety of subjects which sometimes do not have a great link with each other, for let's say accounts, it does not relate well with all the other GS subjects. You have to study it entirely on its own. So would you say many aspirants, they are scared or they are apprehensive for appearing in these kinds of examination just because they think that it is very difficult to prepare let's say accounts, it's very difficult to prepare let's say these labor laws. So what would you suggest to those aspirants? How difficult it is, how difficult it was for you, and how did you manage these different subjects? Did you have a time schedule, a timetable, or did you devise your own different strategy for this?
Sir, I would say that unless and until we try, everything seems very difficult. And giving it a try is the first step to ease out the difficulty. And coming to my preparation, I did manage a timetable, and it was very important for me to schedule everything in line because I was working also. So I did not get much time for extensive study or something like that. And
Okay.
fortunately, my civil services, the timeline of my civil services examination, my state civil services examination, it was aligned with the UPSC EPFO examination. So we had the prelims in the September itself for state PCS
State
also.
PCS.
Therefore, the GS paper, the prelims part of GS paper was somewhat covered. And whatever is new, I strategize such as when we were sure that the exam is going to happen on 5th of September 2021, supposedly prior to 1 month of that, I would specifically focus on the test series of different sources, and I would solve the question papers and various MCQs. So that is the strategy that I followed, and which is like first give out a try and study the new subjects right from the very basics. And after that, obviously, we need to go for the test series and solving more MCQ papers and coming out of the fear that I would fail or it could go wrong. Basically, know the strategies that where I could use the intelligent guessing or how should I approach to solve the questions. So once that part is solved, I think we are good to go for the examination.
Okay. One important area that we have not yet talked about is also current affairs. Now, current affairs
Yes,
is
sir.
very important for civil services exam, that we know, and it is also very important for the EPFO examination. So, what sources did you use? Were the sources for current affairs different? Are different for the civil services and EPFO examination, or the same sources can suffice for both? Or is there any difference between the orientation for the coverage of current affairs in both the examination?
I would say it is not totally different, but in the UPSC EPFO exam, yes, the emphasis is more on the factual questions rather than in the civil services examination. But however, the sources that I followed for civil services and UPSC EPFO, 4 current affairs were same. I was on the regular basis, I would do the newspaper, I would read the newspaper, and sometimes if I don't understand one topic or one editorial, then I would refer to some analysis or some online, any online site to where they explain about the editorial or say some news. And on the monthly basis, I would refer any document or any monthly current affairs so that I should not miss out of any important topics that has been covered over the month. So that was my consistent strategy right from the very beginning for current affairs.
Okay, so as far as I can reckon from what you have told us is that there is a lot of alignment between the civil services examination as well as the EPFO examination, and if one is preparing in a smart manner, they can cover all the subjects and in a timely manner also. Right. So now, also Dibangana, let us now talk about the interview stage. Now, interview is a very important part for the EPFO exam. And first of all, how did you prepare for your interview? And how did your interview went, the actual interview?
I would say compared to the written part, interview was my area of strength comparatively. And for interview, I gave importance to my DAP, that is the detailed application form, and my profile. I also prepared the basic of other subjects, but mainly I was concentrated on the DAP itself. And fortunately, during the actual interview, and it was 90% of it, I would say it was from my dad, and I would say most of it would be from the area of chess. So since they came to know that I have been playing chess and I also have an international FIDE rating, and I have also various medals at the national level. So they were very motivating in that part, and they were keen to know about my journey on chess. How did I manage to do all the things? And 90% of it revolved around chess, and that is why I was very comfortable in talking and expressing myself in the interview room. So I'd like to say that even if my name was not in the list, I would not have any complaint, particularly in the interview process.
Okay, so this also tells us that if you have a strength, I mean that if you have a kind of a, let's say, if you have a special kind of a talent, many times people they do not want to showcase those talent in these examinations, be it a talent in sports or like as you said in games or in some any other kind of activity. We must be exploiting it in our interview also, because that gives us a lot of control of how our interview goes. As you said, many questions were asked to Dibangana related to her, international stint as a chess player. So this also must have gone in your favor. So, Dibangana, I also want to know. Obviously, you are a celebrated chess player. We'll also talk about that a bit later. But were there any other activities or any other hobbies that you used to de-stress yourself? Because obviously you have to study a lot, you have also some commitments towards the family, and you're also working simultaneously, so there must be paucity of time, there must be a lot of stress sometimes. So how did you manage that?
Sir, to be very honest, I do not have the answer of how I get rid of my stress. People often have the misconception that I'm a very happy to go person, but when it comes to my study or in my work, I am totally stressed and I overthink too much. So I would say I watch series, a lot of OTT series for
Okay.
uh, just for the time pass, and I also like to dance. I dance Bihu, but that is not done on a regular basis. But yes, I would say I would go for watching any series. Especially my favorite series is The Office. It is a US sitcom. So whenever I feel low,
So
I
the
just
US one
watch
or the British one? The US
the
one that you have
US
watched.
one, the the
Okay,
Steve
that is
Carell.
the same is true with me. I really love that particular show. So, as you said,
So
you used these sources somewhat for entertainment or for recreation when your mind is saturated with study. So, we should not.
yes,
Would I be correct in saying that we should not always be, focused on? No, we have to study. We have to study. We only have studied 8 hours today. We have to study more. If we are saturated, we should give ourselves a bit time to, entertain or to recreate ourselves. Am I right?
yes, sorry, yes, I do believe that we should give some time to ourselves for relaxation. And I have been following this routine. Like I would never compromise on my sleep. I would get at least 8 hours of sleep, even if it is my workload along with my study. Or I would not overburden myself. I do overthink and stress upon things, but physically, I always try not to overburden myself and have that mental space for peace and calmness.
So you very well said, because we have to make sure that our mind and body both are in a correct state so that we can study. If we want to study and we want to study well, we must be taking care of our mind, our mental, and our physical health also. Dibangna, you, as you told me, you are also working. You have been working in a private sector, and we all know that as a software engineer, job is not very easy. We have a lots of, you must have deadlines and targets to meet. You must have a lot of commitments at your workspace. A lot of time after office also might have gone into your work. So what advice would you give to the working aspirants, the people who are working in some private or public sector and are preparing for these kinds of examinations?
Yes, I would say that the time management and how you reschedule your routine is the very basic and most important thing. How I used to do is I would work from 9 o'clock to as fast as I can. I would try to complete my work and deadline for the day, and after that, I would devote the time and consistent for at least 3 to 4 hours. Consistency is the main key, I would say. Even if one day I might feel bad and I could not study for 4 hours, or let's say I was in a bad mood, but I would make sure that the next day I redeem myself, and the consistency of study, the perseverance and consistency of study should not go within ourselves when we are in the preparation stage. So, however, like the manner which is comfortable for some people might like to study at the night time, or some people might like to study during the morning hours. So I would say that depends on person to person. But how I used to do it before the examination is like I sleep by 11:30. Then I would wake up at the 7 o'clock, and then 7 to 10 o'clock I would do my study, and then again in the evening session I would do my study, how much ever time I have in my hand. So that is how I try to maintain balance between my work life and my preparation in the journey.
Okay, so this is a very important thing that you said, that the perseverance, the consistency must be there. There might be some instances, some days where you are not, completely yourself, where some days when you are really tired, or some days when you are really ill, but you must compensate for that in some other day. So that is very important, and it's a very good advice for all the working aspirants, that if you are working, still you can clear these kinds of examinations if you are consistent enough, and if you persevere, and if you are not shy of doing hard work. So now, the Mangna, a few more questions I would ask. First of all, this is a very cliched kind of question, and but it is in India, it is customary to ask every aspirant who has been successful at any endeavor. If I ask you, who would you give credit for this success? Obviously, you and your hard work is the first thing that we have to give credit to. But apart from yourself, who would you credit for this particular success?
Definitely my parents and my family at first place, and I would also like, by God grace, I'm here now clearing in the UPSC EPFO examination. Also my friends, and I'm very lucky to have 2, 3 very close friends of mine with whom I used to do the mock interview session. Like
Okay.
apart from the mirror practice, I would in the weekend or alternate day we would always do the mock interview session, and they gave me a lot of confidence. Like I was very low in confidence and very low. I was feeling very low self-esteem at one point, but I was able to go through that phase only because of them. So I would say my friends and my family,
Okay.
definitely.
So you said you also practiced mock interviews with your friends. Do you think
Yes.
it's a practice that other aspirants should also try to emulate, that if you have these kinds of people, or be them friends or relatives or teachers who can take your mock interviews, does this really help?
So as for my experience, yes, it does help. I mean, in for my interview success, I would say 90% of the credit would go to them. So
Go
I
to
would
that.
definitely suggest those aspirants who have this facility or privilege, please do use them, and uh,
Okay.
it would be definitely beneficial.
It will be definitely
Yes.
beneficial. You also said that you also attempted mock tests 1 month prior to the examination. So mock tests for recruitment tests, they are also very important.
Uh, Yes, sir. I would say mock tests are the last mile shot which we should not miss, because it gives us the kind of questions we'll be getting inside the interview hall, and also the time pressure and situation. It helps us to go through those other aspects as well. So it was definitely beneficial for me.
Okay, so it was so Dibangna, as she said, and all of you heard it. Mock tests for the written part, and as well as mock interviews for the interview part. These are very, very important. Obviously, you have to practice whatever you have learned, whatever you have studied. You must practice it before you go into the examination. And Dibangna, did you also make your own notes for civil services? Obviously, you would have made your notes for these different other subjects, accounts, labor laws, etc. Did you also make your own notes after looking at those lectures or after going through online sources?
Yes. I did make my own physical notes. Many of the people would believe that since I am a software engineer, I'm not into the physical notes and I'm hardcore coder and something else. But no, I totally depend on physical notes, my handwritten notes, and whatever classes I would be attending, I would prepare notes on that.
Okay, so notes preparation is also very important according to Debangna, and whatever she's saying, I really think you are, guiding the aspirants in the completely right direction. Whether you are a working professional or whether you are an, as full-time aspirant who has been studying for various examinations, we must have to make sure that we are consistent. We are not shy of hard work. We are, punctual. We can stick to our schedule, or we can stick to our timeline, and we make our notes so that we can revise, right? Our notes help us revising things whatever we have learned.
Exactly.
Okay, so Dimangna, it has been a very wonderful session talking to you, and I believe that all the aspirants who are watching us right now, they might be very much thankful that you came here and you gave us your valuable time in order to guide them. And again, I would like to congratulate you for this beautiful result, and I also wish you all the best for your future endeavors wherever you are going, whatever you are aspiring for. I wish that you get success in that.
Thank you so much. And I thank the whole EduTap team for giving me the opportunity to share my journey with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The pleasure was all ours. And thank you, Dibangna.